All right, I wanted to catch everybody on the 72 Torino. It's been a while, but I've been motivated by its rival here, the 72 Chevelle Malibu, of getting this thing done. So I've recently put the engine at top dead center. I dropped in the distributor. The aftermarket distributor I bought for it, the output shaft for the oil pump wasn't large enough. So I pulled up the original distributor cap for now so that I'd like to get the thing to run. What else have I done to it? I mounted up the thermostat, the water neck, the vacuum hose. I hooked up the coolant lines here. These two. I got to get one more for the water pump here to run to the heater box. To the hoses back there, you can see behind the engine. What else? Oh, I put a temperature sensor in. I ran the brand new fuel pump, the edelbrock fuel pumps down here. So that's in place. You can see that. It's also got a fuel filter, inline fuel filter. I've cleaned out the fuel lines for this thing already. Just learning from the Chevelle, I knew that I had to clean the fuel lines out on this guy. So I did that. I ran up the fuel line to the carburetor. Carburetor's all mounted up. I got the right size air cleaner so the hood actually closes. Remounted the hood latch, greased everything up with the pull release for the hood right here. So that's working. You can see. I just moved the Torino up a little bit because I want to put some gas in it. And I want to get the Torino up in the air so that I can get the headers on. So once I get the headers on, I should be able to mount up the headers and then permanently install this engine. Because I know to get the headers on, it's going to be tight. I might have to lift the engine up a little bit. So I have not permanently installed the motor mounts to the frame. So that's coming up hopefully the next episode. I got the bracket for the throttle linkage painted up. That's all set and ready to be mounted up with the throttle cable. So the original throttle cable is right here for the Torino. And it's going to bolt up to the bracket back here and link up and then goes into this little bolt right here. And then I'll put the retention spring on that. I also got to get a vacuum connection for that port right there on the back of the intake to run to the master cylinder right here. So I can make sure that the power brakes are working. I dropped the radiator in for now because I was trying to measure for the fan and for the pulleys. That's the original fan pulley or the water pump pulley, but I actually bought some new polished aluminum ones for both the water pump and for the crank down there. So those will be coming in later on this week. And then once I get that on, I have the alternator bracket. I wanted to mock up the power steering pump. I actually have the power steering pump over here and the original bracket. And I just don't like that massive bracket. So I'm actually looking at some options for some aftermarket bracket setup to replace that monstrosity. Because that bracket actually goes on, here's the fan, goes on with this bracket also in order to run air conditioning. So for the air conditioning condenser, which I do have the condenser for it. So I have to look at my options to see if I want to mount all these brackets up, what my best options are for performance, weight, and visibility, the look of it. Like, how do I want it to look on the front of this engine? Yeah, other than that, just want to keep moving, keep this thing going. I also painted the bolt for to hold on the distributor, the bolt and bracket that goes here. I got that inside. I'm gonna put that on there. I got all the brand new radiator hoses for this thing. I got the new distributor wires for it, new coil pack. So it's coming together. Just wanted to update everybody that it's coming, and I would like to get this thing to be a runner and a driver just like the Chevelle there before the first snow. Because if I can get this thing to run and drive, then I can drive it into the garage. If it's too cold out here in the carport, I can just drive it into the garage. That would be nice. But one step at a time. Stay tuned.